I don't know where you guys were. You guys didn't make it to school. This game we had a nice scrimmage right here at the Reds. 109 plays offensively, defensively, a little less than we did last time, and 29 special teams reps. Got a lot of good punt work throughout the scrimmage, which was good, which we usually had done, so it kind of helped in that punt competition that we had. So I think we'll talk more about that later, but a good day overall. So I was happy that our defense won the scrimmage, if no one's going to ask. Questions?
What did the defense do to win the scrimmage?
You know what? There's different game plans both ways, and I think offensively they tried to run the ball more than they had the previous scrimmage. They took their shots, but as I said, the first scrimmage, if you don't turn the ball over, you win the game. The offense won the game. Second scrimmage, if you don't turn the ball over, you're going to win the game. The offense turned the ball over. We had problems, so we had some turnover issues on the offensive side of the ball. Defense played like they were mad about the last scrimmage, so that's always going to happen. There's always going to be a little fight back, and hey, it's our turn to win this Jersey scrimmage, and that's exactly what happened.
Do you credit those turnovers to pressure? Was it good play in the secondary combo?
There's some great play in the secondary, some tip balls. It was, MJ had one unbelievable interception. Again, that's 2 weeks in a row. He had whoa. If I was an offense, I would not throw 12 away. If you get anywhere near him, he's like a receiver right now. I mean, he's got a lot of confidence right now in what he's doing. A little bit of both.
But numerous guys on your coaching staff said they would have a better idea of the position battles and how they're unfolding after scrimmage 2.
Yep.
Do you feel like you guys are at that point where you really know who's going to be in your starting 22?
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good idea right now who those guys will be, and we'll announce that later. We actually made some jersey changes as well, just because of things are determined. And you're always worried about special teams and just getting the right numbers on the field. If you guys remember, a few years back, maybe it didn't come out because they didn't call it, but we got warned the next week when DeMar Hamlin, number 3, someone else wore number 3. I forget who it was at the time. We had 2 threes for 2 special teams plays in a row, and we didn't get called for it, but they alerted us the next week that they're going to call it. It's like, so numbers are always an issue with all the retired jerseys we have, so we made some number changes just to make sure that we don't have too many of that stuff to put Coach Powell in a bind on the sideline during special teams period. So we've got, we're getting closer to, find out who that core group of guys playing for us is.
On the note of DeMar, how nice was it for you to get a chance to see him this weekend?
It's the only time I'd see him all year, right? I mean, they could be playing here week 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 12, and I wouldn't get a chance to see him. But just to see, obviously Kenny Pickett, and then see Dane and DeMar, anytime you can see your players play, I think it's fun. I mean, to see those 3 guys, it's always special.
How do you mentioned the competitions. How do you feel overall about your depth heading into the last week of camp here?
I feel really good. I mean, I feel really good. I think we're deep. Even watching, yesterday we do we call it a rocks period. A show period where we show a little bit of Wofford defense, and we got one period of it yesterday, and just looking at the depth there, we got more depth there. It's like Coach Signetti said, wow, this is a great, rock team here. Just you're looking at the guys over there like, holy cow, those are dudes that can make some plays, and they're going to help us, as we know. I mean, the key is how we practice every week. Can't go a lot of 1s-on-1s and 2s-on-2s, but we're going, to have a good scout look.
Since Jerry's not here, I'll be the guy to ask it. How do you feel?
Jerry?
I don't know. How do you?
Jerry's out. He's on medical leave today. Jerry today.
You are? Hi, Jerry. You're a lot younger than Jerry.
How do you feel about your team's health heading into the final week of camp, and are there any season-ending injuries to know?
There is one, but I'll note it later. How about that? But, I hate when guys ask me injuries. I had 2 coaches come up from the athletic department the other day and asked how injuries were going, and I was like, don't talk about it. Even, so it's just, other coaches, when they come down to practice, I'm like, we've been good right now, don't jinx us. And then what do you know, a couple periods later, we got jinxed. I'm like, shoot, so don't talk about it. All right, try to ignore it, right?
So a couple plays on Twitter, we saw some of the freshman receivers keep making big catches. I mean, how are they progressing? I mean, are they still right there competing for playing time?
They are still right there. They're smart, and they're just going to keep getting better every week. So it's been impressive.
How would you rate not only Phil but Christian and Nate in this past scrimmage? Was there any separation between Nate and Christian for that second spot now?
Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but there's they've Obviously, we threw a couple interceptions, and we had one fumble. But there's some separation, and they're both doing well. I mean, we feel like we have 3 quarterbacks we can win with. I can tell you that. And Phil has separated himself for sure. I think he's completing 72% of team reps, which is it's good to complete 7-on-7 reps and pass scaling and all that, whatever you want to call it. But Phil's done a nice job, and those other 2 will continue to compete.
And that 72%, is that throughout all camp, or was
That's
that
throughout all camp?
Okay.
Yeah.
Derek Davis still continuing to take steps.
He is. Yeah, he is. He had a nice scrimmage the other day. Like I said, he's a big back. He needs to hit it up in there. At times, he's looking for that touchdown and trying to make big plays. But just get to 3 or 4, and they're giving you. And again, I talked about turnovers in the scrimmage. It also came down to where the offense wanted to establish a run game. That's hard to do against our defense, and our defense continued to say, don't run on us, and that's another reason. I think if the offense would have thrown it a little bit more, maybe they'd had a little bit more success. But their goal was not to throw it; they wanted to come out and run.
Who were the biggest reasons that guys couldn't win the ball on the defense line?
Structure number 1, and number 2, guys. The linebackers. It's all you need them all. One guy, D tackle, linebacker, or safety doesn't fit in the right spot. You're gonna have a big run. So it's just discipline.
Thank you very much. We got the horn for water.